Welcome Cancer to your in-depth monthly horoscope for October 2023 for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you some standout details to look out for, but please stay with me. I will explore in much greater depth all the ins and outs particularly relevant to your sign. Now this month has two eclipses, the first a solar, the second a lunar, particularly relevant to you with your ruler being the moon. But also there's a gathering of energy in the sign of Libra, which although is an air sign and very much to do with relating and also balance and our relationships, for you the primary focus is going to be on the relationships you have with people you are close to. Now, that developing energy in the sign of Libra is also challenged by a very potent set of influences from Pluto in your sector of relationships. So that's going to be the dominating feature of the first half to 2/3 of this month. But then as the month goes on, a much more playful and sociable dimension starts. I'd just like to share a very exciting opportunity with you. If you order your year 2024 personal horoscope forecast now, based on your personal birth data, I'll prepare for you the rest of year 2023 free of charge. Plus, in my special 30% off package, you can get your character analysis report, your life roadmap. This will give you searing insights into the patterns that have played out in your life so far, but give you a much more intimate understanding of how to make the most of these. Please see beneath this video for more. And finally, if you've yet to watch your year 2024 zodiac forecast, please see the link below where you can do so for free. So Cancer, as you make your way into October, the Sun and also Mars, which is very much a hustle-bustle influence, are located in the tender fourth house. The fourth house is that part in the astrological journey where we just take a breath. We think about our emotional needs. We try to find the greatest level of security. It can be where we live, but also it can be about our immediate environment. So we can work somewhere away from home, but if we don't feel very comfortable there, the chances are we won't thrive. So the fourth house is our environment, very much, first and foremost, but it can be about family matters, and it can be about our own inner relationship, our need for security and peace. So having Mars there at the start of this month suggests that you may want to be active about that part of your situation, and that could be in terms of modifying or adapting a current abode or looking to leave it, because of course Mars is a very restless influence. But it just so happens that Mars collaborates with the gorgeous Venus right at the start of this month for 1 week. Now Venus has been going through an extremely long journey in your second house. But of course that also included shadow periods and a retrograde. It went there to begin with on June the 5th, and now it's about to emerge and move into the sign of Virgo on the 9th. But just before that, the connection it makes with Mars suggests that if you're minded, you may want to invite some people around to your home, play host, lavish good food on them, and really enjoy some kind of gathering. But equally, it may mean that Venus has in some ways eroded your dietary plans or defenses, because it's very much the sweet tooth, particularly in the glamorous Leo. So possibly in the 4 months since the start of June, you may have found that you've been really tempted by calorific goodies. But no matter, if you want to share those good things with someone else at the start of this month, you certainly can. Now, Black Moon Lilith has quite a mysterious reputation, but for the last 9 months for you, it has been in a very sensual part of your situation. But it moves into your everyday ideas zone on the 3rd of this month. So expect much more cheeky conversations to take place for you over the next 9 months. It's also possible you may find yourself reading some racy novels. However, on the 5th, Mercury, the planet of communication, which itself has been locked into the sign of Virgo since the end of July, emerges into the sign of Libra, joining up with the Sun and Mars. Now, Mercury moving into this location could see you thinking about working from home if you already work from home, making your space a little more comfortable or private, offering services in your immediate community, or thinking about how you can perhaps provide services perhaps in your local community. But on the 9th, Venus moves out of Leo and it moves into the sign of Virgo. Now, this is not Venus's best location, and it's also met almost straight away by the rather limiting and cold energies of Saturn. If there is a relationship that isn't going quite so well, there could be a very frank exchange of views at this time, particularly on the 10th when the opposition is exact. But you have a reputation of avoiding conflict as much as you can, but perhaps you will find yourself being a little bit more to the point. Also, Mars and Pluto from the 3rd through to the 12th are in a very edgy right angle. Mars in the 4th house can be quite defensive. It's rather in keeping with Mars being in your sign, where it's technically in full. So, in other words, if you feel a little bit irritated or frustrated with what's going on within your home or family affairs, the fact that Pluto in your sector of relating, linking with Mars, can be quite the ruthless influence. It could see you setting your boundaries in a much firmer way, and someone could be really surprised by how frank you may decide to be. Also, on the 11th, Pluto ends a long retrograde, which began on the 1st of May. Now, initially, this was in House 8 for you, shared and long-term finances and deep transformations. But in fact, on the 11th of June, it rewound back into your sector of relating, where it's been since 2008. If you recall during that period, I think there may have been some major changes around your relationships, professional or personal. Some people may have gone out of your life who were previous to that important players, but new people have come in. It's been a dramatic time. So Mars and Pluto is a kind of battle. It's the clash of the two rulers of Scorpio, so it can be very intense. So if you feel that someone's not being very sensitive, understanding or supportive to you around a tender issue, the chances are you could be quite fierce in putting across your viewpoint. Fortunately, on the 12th, Mars moves into the sign of Scorpio, where it is its traditional ruler. Now, Mars also rules Aries, of course, which is that a very intense, impatient, go-getting individual energy. The sign of Scorpio, very deep and passionate, very much more to do with desire. So Mars moving into Scorpio in your 5th house can evoke within you a greater sense of confidence in terms of your attractiveness, but particularly from a sexual viewpoint. So that's really, really nice. However, on the 14th, there is a solar eclipse. This is the first in a new series in the sign of Libra and in an axis with the sign of Aries. But for you, once more, it's giving you encouragement to find just the right place for you to prosper in your home and emotional environment. And if you're not in that place at the moment, the next year and a half is going to be a time of huge change. And I could almost guarantee you will move. Also, if where you are, you feel at the moment you don't have many options, just be aware that the quincunx with Uranus is a very edgy an unpredictable one, and even if your options do seem limited at the moment, something could evolve very quickly over the next 6 months, but also very unexpectedly, that actually can really excite you. So do try to keep your vibe up. Now, on the 19th through to the 21st, Mercury edges forwards in Libra, but then also, just like Mars does, goes into a right angle with Pluto. When people have Mercury square or opposite Pluto in their natal chart, they tend to be the type of might is right type characters, and their view has to prevail, and they don't hold back from asserting it. But Mercury in the fourth house can be a little bit tentative. It's not actually going to seek to assert itself as much as react if someone asserts their opinion in an unfair way. So just be aware of that. Equally, on the 20th, there is a Mercury cazimi, so it means the Sun is moving into the right angle with Pluto too. And that will be exact on the following day, on the 21st. Essentially, this particular cazimi sees Mercury on the other side of the Sun, because Mercury is not retrograde, so it's a superior conjunction. As we see it from planet Earth, the two are side by side, and what the Sun will do is magnify your thinking and the quickness of your thinking around those home and emotional based issues. But as I said, Mercury in the fourth house can be a little bit resistant to actually saying how it feels. So if there is something that's important to you, do try to convey it. You're going to be helped because on the 22nd, Mercury joins with Mars in Scorpio. Now, Mercury in Scorpio is one shrewd transit. It helps you to understand not what people are saying, but what they really mean. In other words, understand the subtext. But also, the fifth house for Mercury is a very playful, cheeky, even naughty location. And even though Scorpio can be a little bit serious, I think this will help you to see that a much more social, playful and outgoing vibe is developing in the month. And some of that intense politics of earlier in October can make way. And this will be augmented by the Sun shifting into Scorpio on the 23rd. Now, the ruler, of course, of Scorpio is Mars, and that's aligning with Mercury on the 29th, again in an exact conjunction. If there is something that you want to get across to someone, particularly around your talents or skills, or maybe it's a flirty moment with someone, you'll be able to convey how you feel with a lot of conviction, a lot of humour, but just enough intensity to make that person be very conscious of who you are and the qualities you possess. It's really exciting stuff. Also, from the 26th to the 30th, there is, and it becomes exact also on the 29th, an opposition between Mercury and Mars and Jupiter. Now, Jupiter in the sign of Taurus is anchored. It's not inclined to be as easygoing. It's not as inclined to promise more than it can realistically deliver. But Mercury and Jupiter in an opposition with Mars in the mix could make you much more earnest. And I feel that if there is a social situation or someone you're really drawn to, I think you're being really pushed to go for it. And maybe that's what the lunar eclipse is really about. It's saying that if you want to transform your emotional world, which is coming from the solar eclipse, you may have to engage more with others in order to create changes in your situation which enriches how you feel about things. But that means playing on the front foot, being a bit more open. And that may be something that generally Cancer people can be a little bit risk adverse. Security is very important to you, but this combination of eclipses and these energies at the end of this month is really encouraging you to take up any invitations. If there is someone you really like, why not try? If they don't agree to meet up with you or it doesn't quite work out, at least you'll know that and you'll be enriched by the experience. But if you stay totally cocooned within the domain that you feel safest in, life sadly will be passing you somewhat by. So if you're able, I would if possible, try to get out and about and meet as many people as possible towards the end of this month, because it's a critical time in the whole year's cycle to mix and mingle, enjoy yourself, showcase your talents. But I do feel that if someone's not understanding what you need around your home or emotional or family life, you are going to speak out earlier in the month, or there can be a significant shift around where you live. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Cancer. Please don't forget to check out that year 2024 deep dive video, which is free to watch underneath this one. But for now, stay safe. Please like, share, comment, or subscribe.